I got 6 o'clock. Is that close enough?
No, you got one more minute yet.
Oh, my watch is fast then, okay. Better reset it tonight.
The computer is set to world time, and that's just the one I always use. And now it says it's 6 o'clock.
Well, does the Earth rotate a little faster,
I don't know.
or does it slow down?
I don't know, Verdi.
Okay. Just wondering about the world time. The meeting will come to order. Approval of the agenda.
I would move to approve the agenda, but I have a question first. Should we put the resolutions down farther so that Janelle has an opportunity to vote on them, or move for the agendas right away, or the resolutions right away? I don't want to do anything that's not. I will approve the agenda as it stands.
Yeah, we can take it in whatever order you guys want.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
There's a lot of stuff in front of you, so if you just want to take 5 more minutes and read through some of it, or if you want me to start trying to walk through an explanation of where we're at and what's going on, we can do that.
One question I have is the two different Raccoon Valley.
They did not send one today with their proposal. The one with the higher numbers is dated last year,
Okay.
and the one with the lower numbers, Jim sent me in an email in June. So we do have to clarify those numbers, Justin, okay? Because he didn't send one with today's, but both of the Jims at Raccoon Valley were out of the office today. They were flying home from somewhere, and these conversations happened in airports along the way. So,
But this refers back to their original O&M proposal that had a $500 retainer fee, $500 a month retainer fee.
right.
And then those rates. And that's reflected in the resolution.
Okay, discussion mentioned that we might want to rearrange the agenda. Move the resolution down, lower, or what? I'm asking.
It's up to you guys. I don't.
Why don't we just go ahead?
We'll just leave it as is, don't you think?
Yeah, let's just roll.
Because she already agreed to Heartland, right?
Yeah.
Well, not technically. You haven't. You really
No,
haven't
no.
had
No,
the
but
discussion.
She was kinda,
Yeah,
Or
she was
didn't.
meaning that way.
yeah, possibly.
Janelle,
Well, it's her responsibility to be here, whatever.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
talk about the first resolution then. Bernie.
1413.
I would expect that you guys would discuss some of what you heard the other night, unless you all are just like, wow, there we are. I don't know.
we heard a lot of stuff that other night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any, are there questions I can try to help you answer from the other night that,
I don't think so much. I don't
here
think
she
that's-
comes, so she's coming
For
across
me,
the street.
No, I don't have any questions that, you know, the part that helps me out is when he does those bar graphs and things like that we get to see, and
Yeah.
that kind of sums it up for me, I guess. But, you know, especially if we can look into, you know, possibly at least holding the line the first few years on our electric rates and build up some, you know, like you suggested, some money to possibly do some of those pole updates and things. You know, I know the pole by Martin's Welding was a pretty expensive one, and that's been on our list that I want to try to tackle for a long time.
That's the worst one.
So if
that
we
have.
can save up to 15,000 in a year's time or whatever in order to do that one.
Well, before you go down that road too far, the way our rate structure is, lower rates from a power supplier are passed directly to the customer. There is no
Okay.
additional
Oh, that's
room
right.
for profit unless we change our rate structure.
Unless we change to a fixed rate thing, kind of like,
Which gets into a discussion a little later on the
okay.
agenda. But yeah, and the bottom line is, Randy, on on Monday night's discussion is between Mid-America, Heartland, and even though Raccoon Valley was no longer in it, there was a consortium called MEAN, M-E-A-N, as well that had a proposal. The bottom line is this Heartland group had the lowest, longest term rates for us, or power rates for us.
Basically about where Heartland ended up was where Mid-America was starting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Yeah,
Maine-
10 years down the road.
Yeah, and Maine was, you know, kinda up there,
Right?
up above what Raccoon Valley proposed. And then Raccoon Valley's was about, to me, one step, just a little leap higher than what Heartland was.
And the difference between what had been the Raccoon Valley and the Heartland contract is the Heartland contract is a fixed price contract with an escalator, an agreed to at the front side escalator.
It's gonna be this year, this year, this year,
The
plus some,
pass-through
The
things like the
pass-through,
MISO
the
charges and, yeah. Yeah.
transmission
No
and
surprises.
whatever Mid-America ends up with on the substation thing and stuff
Yeah.
again, so.
Plus they'll allow us to do some incentives for peak demand and possibly,
Yeah, there's no
restrictions
against
against
that,
that.
so.
So,
I feel good about the Heartland proposal myself.
Okay, yeah, you maybe before we adopt this resolution, there is it's 4 pages, it says Ehlers and Cooney on the top. Those are the attorney's comments on the proposed contract. They've all seen a draft contract, which I just got 15 minutes ago, so I haven't read the contract, but it doesn't matter that I've read it or not, but these,
this is that second opinion attorney.
Right, was he able to get some definitive answers from Heartland on those issues that we had?
not
The-
definitive, but favorable.
Okay,
Okay, we are, after tonight, the message that this resolution is sending to Heartland tonight is that, yes, we choose them as our supplier and we intend to negotiate in good faith to a final contract.
and they gotta have that for their board meeting to make sure
Right.
that we can still get power from them.
Correct,
Right.
Correct.
Right,
Correct.
So
And
it's
the
not
last,
even for sure that they will be our supplier if their board of directors said no.
exactly.
that's
So
true.
that's a possibility.
It is a possibility. It's not anticipated,
Right.
but who
Right.
knows,
There's
you
always
know?
that chance.
So really the last page of that page, or that document from the second opinion attorney is what he's suggesting to Heartland. Well, I guess there's a little bit on the front.
Yeah,
Following, but the
Yeah.
bottom line is the consultant has been working, and Nancy, you correct me if I'm wrong, the consultant has been working with Heartland to work through all of these. And when I talked to him last, and when Nancy talked to him last, he thought Heartland was agreeable to meet all of these concerns. So yeah, while it's not 100% for sure, Heartland, it's at least a good 95%.
Yeah, I think so. I feel comfortable with where we're at tonight. And this resolution, like I said, it is an indication that, and Heartland has a copy of the resolution that you guys are considering tonight. Okay, so they're aware of this. But it basically says that you declare that it's in the public interest of Auburn's customers to do business with Heartland. And then it just says that we have the authority granted by the city council to finalize the negotiations. There will be another resolution once we have the final contract and everybody says we're happy, that will come to you, where you'll pass another resolution authorizing the mayor and I to sign it. And then it's a done deal.
Right, done deal, and we know that they complied with all of our second opinion and our city attorney's
Plus.
issues.
Yep. Well, I make a motion to approve resolution 14-13.
Sorry, I
Okay, no,
just
that's
have
fine.
one
I'm sorry.
question. This is just for the power, this isn't the O and M?
Right,
Right.
Okay.
right. We haven't gotten to that
Know what I
discussion.
had missed,
Nope.
so.
Nope.
Second Justin's motion. Okay, motion by Justin, second by Randy. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion, oh, do we need a roll call vote on that?
It doesn't say it on there.
Well,
we
yeah,
voted aye.
resolutions you should, but if everybody said aye,
Yeah.
then it's all right.
Mark it as such.
I will list it in the minutes as a roll call vote.
Okay, now we go on to resolution 1414.
So basically, we have nothing set in stone on this, it's just in interest of pursuing it with Raccoon Valley.
No, we have an email back from Raccoon Valley that says they will agree to do it.
Right, but we have no pricing, no, nothing, did we explore? We
The
have-
pricing, no, but it'll be pretty
Comparable.
consistent with what
Okay.
is in front of you. One or the two of those,
It'll be within these.
it'll be within those two, and if it's not, I will let you know immediately, but I will tell you that the last call that they came and did for the city were at the $70 and $90 rates on that piece of paper. So I'm thinking that's the correct one, but it's not the last one that Jim sent me, so.
There was no other contractors that could either get us it in time or interested?
It's a difficult path to get there. Dennison, would be maybe willing. He had talked yesterday or this morning, one or the other, with the new guy at Wall Lake, and he said possibly, but he had to go to his council. His council had to agree with it. We had to come up with a pathway for that to happen, and then there was still the concerns. If it was a large storm in many cities, then they couldn't answer our call because they do just have the one guy.
And what's the length of this contract with them?
This is, just a minute, I saw it.
Was it a year?
Well, it said it began
I think I
January
saw.
2015, but it didn't.
Yeah,
That
I
was
didn't
it
see
for a
any.
year.
3 years?
The initial term, and
Oh,
the
that's-
dates are wrong, but it has an automatic rollover provision of additional year unless terminated by either party within 6 months. So it's one of
That's a
those,
year.
Okay,
if you don't give them notice, they're gonna keep doing it,
okay.
okay?
July 1st through June 30th.
Yeah, and those dates aren't correct because I suppose it could be, we could enter this agreement with Raccoon Valley at the next meeting. Because currently they've terminated the other contract, but they are continuing to service, so we could enter that contract right away. Because we still need them to do the work.
Right, right.
So-
We might as well have a contract in place.
Yeah,
That
so
makes more sense.
I think if you guys are okay with that, that's probably where we'll go.
Get the dates changed.
Get the dates and say, we want to do this as of October
Right.
at the next council meeting.
Well, they've been reliable and they've been pretty prompt for coming and helping with us, so.
And when we were trying to do that concrete plant stuff, they put a lot of time in and sent Mitch up here, one of their guys up here, and they put a lot of time in that we never saw a bill for. They installed the new transformer for us and all we paid for was the pad. No labor, no trucks, so, they have been good to us and they're reliable, their guys are skilled and they show up, so.
Make a motion to approve resolution 14-14.
I'll second it.
Motion by Justin, second by Cindy. Any further discussion on this? I'm gonna take the short part again. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call. Everybody voted
I
aye.
should say nay, just to throw a wrench in it.
Not when you made the motion.
Yeah, I was gonna,
Randy, you gotta do it next time.
Okay, consider city responsibility for oversight of Auburn utilities.
this one's mine, Gertie.
Number 5.
Yes. Okay. I wanted to talk about it, is what I'm saying to you.
For the oversight?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. One of the number one thing I want to say is thank you so much for allowing me to be involved and be the point person on this. I'll just call it this alternative search for a power supplier. And I've learned a lot. I appreciated it very much. But one of the overriding things I've learned is that the city council is, in this case, serves as the governing body for the Auburn utilities. And as such, we are obligated to provide oversight to those utilities. And by that, I mean we need to be able to be familiar with the amount of revenue that's coming in from the utility, the expenses for the utility, the amount of profit we take from the utility to cover expenses in the general fund or in other funds where it's necessary. In talking to a number of people and just doing research about best practices for small city councils, is the next step I think we need to take, and this is just my opinion, but I want to see what you all think, is to really get involved in providing oversight to those utilities. So we have access as a city council to the list of meters out there, the list of customers out there. Of course, now, none of that information can be shared on the street, so to speak, but we are ultimately responsible for the management of those utilities. And with that, I'll end my lengthy suggestion with this. What I would be willing to do, because I am one of the few of you that have the time, what I would be willing to do is act as a designee. I don't want to form a utility board, and I don't want to set up additional meetings, but act as a designee for Auburn utility oversight. And by that I mean we review the numbers, we research, we gather those numbers, and I prepare them in a format that you can review, and I look at best practices of other small cities, see how they handle this issue or that issue. In no way, shape, or manner do I speak for the city of Auburn, but I would very much like that designation if it's permissible with you all. I can only underscore or emphasize through my conversations with lots of people, it is one of the most important things that city councils can do, and it is difficult because not everybody has the time to do that. And certainly I am willing to do that. I want to do that. As you notice, I enjoy doing things like that, and it's a learning experience for me. So what I would do is, over the next couple of months, bring you back an analysis of basically just where the money is coming from, what it costs to run our utilities, where we spend the additional profit coming from the utility, and maybe some best practices from other small communities. There's lots of resources out there to help us, and it shouldn't be, I will make sure it is not time consuming. I know you're thinking, oh my God, Jane, but I would make sure it's not time consuming in any way, shape, and I would work with Nancy to gather the necessary information that I need here. But as our next agenda item indicates, it wouldn't mean that I talk exclusively to Nancy. The whole purpose of it is to gather best practices from other small towns and where they put their utility profits and how they utilize or what efficiencies they have made. But that's my suggestion, and I'm more than willing to do it if I receive the designation, and of course, no cost to the city council. I mean, no mileage, nothing like that. We belong to the Iowa Municipality group, and we pay that membership, and there's lots of resources there, technical people that can help as well.
Would that involve like checking into like appliances, refunds and stuff like that?
Yes,
Or
any of your
any
suggestions.
alternatives for,
Rebates?
yeah, rebates and other, what do you call it? I can't think of my word I want to say.
Just trying to upgrade everybody's,
Yeah.
make everybody more
Efficiency
efficient.
measures, yeah, no, absolutely. You know, that is what I'd love to do. I'd love to be able to sit down with each one of you guys and say, what kind of information could I get to you? What would you like to see in whatever format you want to see it? And so that would be, and a time frame, you know, you could give me till the end of the year. We could do it, and we could do the full-blown kind of analysis when Nancy goes through the budget kind of thing. We could do it either together with that or broken up in segments at each meeting. Hold me to 15 minutes and
How long?
15 minutes. Yeah, I'm not talking additional meetings at all.
But doesn't Nancy have access to all the analysis and stuff now with our computer system or not?
I think that's the beauty of this, is first of all, it doesn't consume Nancy's time. You know, that she'll still be a big part of it, but I don't want what happened through the power thing to get, and that was, I've received a public records request. And so there's some real, there's a negative dynamic going on there that I don't want. If I put it together, I will work closely with Nancy. But every one of my phone calls doesn't have to be shared with Nancy. Every one of my phone calls doesn't have to be shared with Bertie. And I am not speaking for the board. I am simply gathering information and offering my analysis of the comparisons. And, but the information, the actual information from our system, yes, I would work directly with Nancy. And while we have a bumpy relationship, I think we can work through this, and it's something I think I know needs to be done. We all need to get much more actively involved in knowing how our utilities system operates and the numbers that are associated with that. I think we owe that to people. And if I can break it down so it's not ultimately time consuming, that's my goal.
I don't see.
I make a motion to have you do it. If anybody else wants to know
What's that?
that. I made a motion to do it that way. If everybody agrees.
A second.
Okay, motion, repeat the motion, Randy.
Yeah, right. Let's hear you repeat it. Let's go that route.
Just
What
something
she
to
said.
the, yeah, something to the effect that
Designate of Jane.
that Jane would be designated to do an analysis
Or-
and a best practices of
Okay.
Auburn's utility system, and,
Find energy efficient ways.
yeah,
Thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
there you go.
How's that?
That'll work.
And a second by Justin.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I don't think it would hurt anything
Right.
at all to do this. And I think we as council members need to be more involved in different things. So I think it's a good idea.
Any other
As long as
comments?
it stays private, because I don't think people's individual business needs to be plastered all over.
Okay, are you suggesting that I would do that?
No, I'm just stating
No,
that
many-
that's why we've always kept names out of everything. Like if Nancy would ever run anything off for utility, for individual utilities, the names were always excluded.
It's council's right to know though.
It's council's right to know.
It is, Janelle, and that's one of the
That's-
most important things I've learned in
That's
this
one of
whole
the council-
process.
Yes,
Is that
council's
we
right to
are the
know.
governing board. That information cannot and should not be kept from us. And then if a council member misuses that information, then they're liable for the consequences
Yes.
of that. And we all know that. So, but I really see this more as a complete analysis and breaking it up into segments, like it could be a report out at the end of each council meeting, just, you know, quick and dirty kind of thing so that you get an idea of, you know, how many meters we have in town. And I don't want to bore you with all the detail, but you know, I think that's working knowledge that we all need to have.
But honestly, not only that, but I think if we can see that there's a specific household that
Needs help.
needs help, I mean, if you can see that their utility bills are out of this world, maybe you can go and say, this program's available, or we can help you with
Have-
Region 12's upgrades, paperwork, or, I mean, there's some people in town that probably, probably have received the paperwork, but they're like, holy cow, this is overwhelming. And I've done plenty of Region 12 paperwork, it is ridiculous. And I mean.
It is, but yeah,
I
that's a
think
good
it's a
point.
great thing
But
to-
ultimately, we mail them some, give them some technical assistance if you can.
Yeah,
Okay, are you looking at getting individual accounts or just a general picture?
The focus is not to delve into people's personal, no. I want to do a complete analysis of the Auburn utility system, from
Okay.
high level to detail level, okay, Bertie? And so I'm not going to go searching for a particular person's bill, if
Yeah.
that's what you're
You
concerned
don't
about.
need that.
No, but the point is, and you need to make this very clear, the point is, if a council person wants to see that, by law, they
It's their right.
can.
It's our right to see.
Yeah.
They, excuse me, they can, but not in the context of a council meeting. Because then it has to be open to the public and you can't allow that. You can come in here, yes, okay? But Janelle's point earlier about me taking the names off for the council meeting.
Well,
You have to be
we
very
work through
careful
that.
with the privacy issues
Yeah,
too.
and you know what, I
when it
will
comes to council
research
table, we
that.
can work with account numbers,
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
and that's,
right. So I don't see that as a problem.
no,
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried.
okay, the next one's mine too, Bertie. As you know. I just wanted you all to know that at the end of Monday night's meeting, Verdi handed me a public records request form. He is asking for my email concerning basically anyone I might have communicated with throughout this whole electrical process, this whole power proposer process. Those are 3 Ps. I just thought it should be important, and because of the way it was delivered to me, after the meeting, no prior discussion, before the meeting, and Verdi, I want to stay, and I will stay very respectful. But I think it's very important that the council know that you are pursuing this, and I will comply. That's not a problem. But if I would like an explanation of what it is you're looking for in these emails.
Well, you've been doing some work in behalf of the city with the emails and so forth. I think we have a right to know what those emails are.
On behalf of the city, I have gathered information. I have made no judgments and not spoke for the city. And you have names listed here that how did you come up with Terry Smith? I'm not sure I remember who Terry Smith is. Do you,
Terry Smith was one of the Mid-American people that was here, and Verdi was here in that meeting.
but you didn't recognize the name.
Well,
So you're gathering this information.
okay, before we go any further, I'm getting to the point now where I have a hell of a time remembering. Who are you? You know, things like that. Sometimes I wake up at 11 o'clock at night, oh, that's what that was.
And I am respectful of that, Bertie, I understand. So I will gladly put these together for you, but I can tell you that I have sent no emails to any of the people you have listed here. So rest assured
Okay.
that that's not a problem. And any emails that I received from any of those people, of course, they want to know the emails to me and the emails from me, dealt only with business. I do not deride people. I do not criticize people. I did not speak for the city council. Despite the paranoia, I did not. And you'll see that by this one-sided conversation, these emails. They were proposals that were sent. They were, here's this, here's that. Nothing derogatory about the city of Auburn, you as an individual, Nancy as an individual. And I can tell you, quite frankly, I know you have difficulty remembering. But I would caution you against being an agent of other people. Because if Nancy wanted this, all she would have had to do is either serve it to me herself or ask me. And I would have said the same thing I'm saying now, which is the absolute truth. So that's the end of that.
Okay. So there's no action on that item?
No, there's no action.
Okay. Next item, stormwater intakes.
I want to make a quick motion because I found that that's the only way that there's a record that something has to be done and we don't argue about it 2 or 3 meetings later. I make a motion that you don't want to use his name, the city maintenance person do a comprehensive review of the stormwater intakes, clean them as necessary, and fix the drain caps.
Okay, does that mean under the sidewalk too?
That means under the sidewalk.
I'll second that.
Got a motion
Mm-hmm.
and a second by Justin.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And that, I can't remember the other night, did we make a motion to have that other one clean, or was it unanimous?
It was unanimous consent kind of thing. Do we need a motion on that, Nancy, while we're talking?
He's already called and gotten on their list, so,
But it sounds like that there's had a lot of people with water in the basement on that side of town.
yeah, he contacted Rehab Systems Tuesday morning and got on their list, so.
Okay, so we don't need a motion to make that happen.
So
It's
it
up
must
to
have
you
been on
guys.
that whole block.
Oh, and that was me. I mean, I flooded out.
Yeah, a lot of people on that town.
Terrible.
Adjourned?
I make
I
such
just have
a
one comment to you, Jane.
I'm sorry.
And, I don't know what is all going on here, but from what you have said and from what happened, I do recall, and I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I do recall at not the last meeting, but the month before, stating that you were to work with Nancy and Verdi on
picking an attorney.
with the whole power thing.
Well, no, I was designated the point person because I knew there was going to be issues. I knew there was going to be difficulty. It has been extremely difficult, Janelle, and I think you understand that. I've been hung up twice. I want to maintain a working relationship with Nancy, so I'm not going to get into, but the behavior has not been appropriate, and I have maintained professionalism the entire time. I will not be called names. I will not be ambushed. I will not tolerate it anymore. And that is the very reason I used the term point person. It was obvious.
But as the point person, you are
I am
also-
not obligated to share every conversation, every email. No, I'm not.
When it's
I
related
was-
to the city business.
Share it with Nancy? No. I was gathering
So if-
information. I was gathering information for the city of Auburn. I was not presenting information to proposers from the city of Auburn. I wasn't communicating. I wasn't directing. Nothing. No, I had no obligation to share it with Nancy. Now, is it public information? Yes. But what a hokey, abusive way to go about asking for emails. And I'd say paranoid. And it isn't appropriate and it's not professional. And you will find nothing in my emails that I received, because there's none that I sent. Nothing in my emails that's derogatory to the city, to Verdi, or to Nancy. And that's really what they're after.
And even in that, I feel that we're elected to be here, and if we want to go on our own tangent and do some investigation into something, I don't think that there's a thing anybody at this table can do about it.
Right. I mean,
And
I
that's
understand
that was the beginning of the whole Mid-America thing, and you know, this could have, unfortunately, it didn't turn out to be an absolutely
But the point
great deal,
remains,
but she,
they bid.
yeah,
They did bid. Even if it was a bad bid, they bid.
she did her obligation as a council person to try to
People
do
wanted,
something good for the citizens. I mean, if
Right, and
if
I'm
every
understanding
conversation
all
that has
that.
to take place with an outside agency, if we're a council person, then I'm gonna have to go back a long time, because I've done a lot of price checking, things like that for the
Oh, I
fire
know.
department, stuff like that. I mean, if those conversations have to come to this table, I gotta know, I wanna go get a tape recorder. I mean, if every little thing I do is gonna come under fire at this council table, that's ridiculous. I mean, we gotta trust each other to do a good job. The people in town obviously trust us to do a good job, they put us here.
I've gone different places with
Right.
the tile plant, or the cement plant,
Yeah.
and
And
a
I
couple
can-
other things.
I can honestly tell you, Janelle, when people find out that Verdi Manu made me comply with a public records request because I had the audacity to contact Mid-America, and that's really what it's all about, Mid-America, and have a conversation and gather information, they will be upset.
I just wish we could all get along as a council, I really do. And
I
we should be
tried
able to
very,
talk to-
very, very hard.
We should be able to each vote our own way without feeling that we're gonna have repercussions from somebody.
I agree.
Because it's very nerve-wracking.
It is,
You know, I don't wanna take sides, I wanna do what I feel is right for
and that's
myself.
what you should do.
I just wanna be able to,
That's all any of us are
yeah,
here to do. I mean,
That's right.
somehow we
they
gotta
put us here
change.
because somebody in town thinks we have good judgment, and you gotta use your judgment here. I mean,
Yeah, we
and
just
if you
gotta-
don't agree with it, or,
You guys just got
And it-
reelected, for God's sakes.
and in all honesty, I mean, we've had our spats.
Yeah,
We try not to make it personal, but sometimes, you know, it ends up that way.
yeah, we just,
But
I get carried away.
it's our, you know, I know, but everybody's family has been under fire at some time
Yep.
or another, and
Well, now don't go down that
We-
road because
Mine
I'm
has,
sure my shoulder.
Justin's has,
I just think it's,
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
it's always, and unfortunately, sometimes it involves my family against your family.
Yeah.
I mean, or yours against mine, and you know, it is what it is, we gotta try to do what's best for the town, and if we can't do that, then I guess those of us that have issues should probably leave.
We just gotta try and work together.
Yep.
But don't get that wrong, that I have any issues. I'm just trying to get everything laid out on the table here, so we all can finally get on one page.
I
Because
think
I
we're
feel like
on
the
one page,
battle-
but the problem is when to me, it feels like if one person is being, I guess,
Proactive.
well, either proactive or segregated. I mean, even if it's,
Yes.
if it, you know, we can all try to be friends at the end of the day, but when it comes down to it, she's our employee, he's our employee, we have to treat it like a business, and if something goes wrong as far as their,
I think we
associated with, it's still, we're their bosses.
Right.
I mean, it still comes down to that. And if there's crosswords and gets brought up at the table, not every time does it has to be somebody's under crucifixion. Every time.
I don't know if somebody wants to
And
do it
I
on their own
really-
time and
I-
get
I
rid
really
of it.
do.
I
feel
love
like
the fact that you have the time and
I don't have time.
energy to go ahead and do this stuff. I'd love to be able to, but I don't have the time. You know, if you like to do it, great. More power to you, and I appreciate it. The more information we can gather at this table, we can make a better decision. That's my 2 cents. I'll shut up now.
And maybe a
I
better.
agree with you.
We're done.
I don't know.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.